And back with part two, guys. Part one was a lot of hateful and resentness. We got to work on our vocabulary here.
I think you're smart because you know words.
I know, dude. See, I know the 68% of the word, and then the last part of it I just fudge up. But
clean up the language.
we have. I said fudge.
I know.
We have playoffs starting, which is like the best time of year. Some of the hockey teams are played 80, 81, 80. Nobody's played 82 yet, but we had a couple teams play their 81st game tonight. So playoffs should get underway by beginning of next week. So when this episode airs, we'll probably be one game throughout in the rounds. Some of the pretty much the playoff seeding has been determined in the East. Washington is going to get the one seed. It's pretty much locked in. Philly, if Washington loses their next game and Philly wins both, then maybe, I don't know. But you're looking at Washington 1, Philly 2, Boston has 3, and Pittsburgh has 4. Those are pretty much locked. Tampa is locked into the 5 spot. Montreal is 6th, but Buffalo could catch them. And then you got the Rangers also, who are, So the way we're looking at it right now, Washington could play the Rangers, which would be a great series. A couple years ago, Rangers gave them some headaches. Philly would play Buffalo, which is it's Philly all the way, especially because Ryan Miller, Team USA's goalie. Come on, Monops, you have to follow the Olympics. You know Ryan Miller?
Nope.
Is the only hockey name you know Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby?
I know that Chara guy.
You know that Chara guy?
Lucic.
Lucic, okay. Good enough. So you actually doubled. Do you know anybody not on the Bruins?
Alexander Ovechkin. Does Bill Garrett still play? Because I know his
Bill
name
Garrett, he retired.
That Thornton guy too.
Yep, Jumbo Joe Thornton. He plays on the Sharks.
I know a few, dude.
Yes, you do.
More retro, but
very retro. In the East, there's a couple teams. Last year, Flyers. There were a great story, a shitty story for Bruins fans because they knocked them out after
that was
Bruins
pretty embarrassing.
Wicked embarrassing. But I don't really see the 8 or the 7 seed, the Rangers or Buffalo, making a splash this year. I feel like the top 6 teams can handle them. Same thing with Montreal. I don't think Montreal can do. Montreal-Boston is going to be a crazy series if it happens in the first round. That's like having the playoff start for baseball monops, and the first round is Red Sox-Yankees. It can never happen that way.
That could never happen.
It could never happen that way. But could you imagine the buzz immediately, and like the two hated rivals, only one goes on to the next round? I mean, that's fantastic. That's the kind of stuff that like you want in sports. It's like having the Celtics and the Lakers in the first round. Again, can never happen. You can't always have Colts-Patriots.
That could happen.
That is possible.
Could.
So, I mean, some good matchups in the East. I think Washington's really good, but they're a terrible playoff team. They've never had the track record in the past. They always seem to blow it. Philly, good team. They've been slumping lately. They've lost 4 in a row. They lost their hold on the 1 seed. Bruins still have a chance of getting the 2 seed, but it's improbable. If Philly gets one more win, they've pretty much locked that up. But like I said, they've lost 4 in a row as is. Pittsburgh has been unbelievable this year because their 2 best players, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, have been out all season.
I was actually going to ask you if either one of those would be back for the playoffs or not.
You're lying.
I was going to ask you. I didn't know about Malkin, but I knew about Sidney Crosby.
Malkin has a torn ACL and MCL. I know you know what that feels like.
So that's a no for that
So
one.
he's done until next year, probably midpoint of next year. But Crosby has started skating again, and there's a good chance that he'll be back for the first round, which is awesome because I love Sidney Crosby. He's the man. Over there in the Western Conference, Vancouver's just been on a tear all year. They've just been smashing everybody. San Jose's had a huge second half. They went from the 8 seed to the 2 seed. Detroit's always dangerous. LA is missing their 2 best players. Anze Kopitar's out, and Justin Williams. And Wayne Gretzky, yes, very much so, Wayne Gretzky. And then the 5 through 8 is separated by, actually 5 through 10 is separated by a grand total of 6 points, which is huge. And Dallas is winning tonight, so it's going to be by 4 points. A lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a fun playoff. If I had to predict right now, I think Chicago in that 8 seed is dangerous, very, very dangerous.
They win it all last year, right?
They won the whole thing last year. They could easily knock out, well, not easily, but they could knock out Vancouver. They split the season series this year 2-2. So in the West, I like either Chicago or Anaheim. Anaheim has been playing really, really well lately, doing the flying V and all that good stuff from the Mighty Duck movies. They've been playing really hot. So the 8 or the 7 seed, I think, could surprise people in the West. Whereas in the East, I feel like it's going to be more top-heavy. As much as I'd love the Bruins to get there, I'm a realist. They haven't made a conference championship series in over 20 years.
That's embarrassing.
You're telling me. Washington, again, not a good playoff team. I think Philly, maybe, if Tampa Bay can get hot, they could end up there. Pittsburgh, it all depends on Crosby's health. If he comes back and he's, loopy and not fully there, there's no point of him being on the ice. Kind of like what the Bruins had to go through with Savard. Regardless, it's going to be good playoffs. I wish you were more into it because I'd love to talk to you about it, but I kept it quick because I know it's not your forte.
If you were to buy me a ticket, I would go.
I will eventually buy you a ticket and we'll go.
I'm not going to buy a hockey ticket. That's how I look at it.
I can coincide with that. Whereas in the NBA, a lot more action going on. And this is, a good amount about the NBA. Bulls pretty much have the 1 seed locked up.
They're playing just unbelievable this year. Derrick Rose is just a truly amazing player.
And breaking from the final, Boston lost in Chicago by 16.
That's rough.
It's very rough. So Chicago pretty much has that locked up. 78 games left, and they are
78 games left. Huh?
Celtics are. 78 games played. Celtics are 4 back, so we'd have to win all 4. They'd have to lose all 4, and I'm pretty sure they have the tiebreaker over us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do too.
What do you see in the Eastern Conference? Are the Bulls really that good? Do they have the experience? First-year coach? A bunch of new stuff going on. What do you think?
Well, what makes the Bulls so dangerous, especially when they play the Celtics, is that their coach is Tom Thibodeau, who used to be a Celtics assistant. So he basically knows everyone's weakness, how to beat you. So that's going to make them really dangerous if we happen to play them in the playoffs. I think they're going to do pretty well. They're more of a team than Miami is, so that they're ever to me like Miami's got 3 great players. They're not a team.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose. They'll get past the first round, but they're going to lose to a team such as Boston, such as Chicago, someone that actually knows how to play team basketball.
And the only reason they're going to get by the first round, which I really hope I really hope Miami ends up playing the Knicks in the first round.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
You know what I mean? Because the Knicks will get Miami tired.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
D'Antoni run and gun offense, especially with Carmelo and Stoudemire. That's going to be, even if it goes 5-6 games, I don't think it'll go 7. But, it'll be a good series, and it'll get those Miami Heat guys tired. I know they're all young, they can run, things like that, but you're sprinting up and down a court for a 5-6 game series. It's going to take a tear. And then you have to go play either Chicago or Boston. Not what you want to be doing. I think I agree with what you said with Chicago. Thibodeau, good coach, knows the Celtics inside and out. Don't forget about Big Red, Scalabrine over there.
Oh,
he knows the C's also very well.
Forgot about him.
I was listening today on the radio again, and they said how the Bulls felt like the Kendrick Perkins trade helped them out very much so. And I agree with that.
Unfortunate.
But they also, you can't bank on another team for your own confidence.
I agree.
With or without Perk, Chicago should be like, oh, that's our thing. The only thing that I compare the Bulls to is, remember the Hawks a couple years ago? Young squad, young coach, overachieved.
Oh, absolutely.
And gave the Celtics a good run in that first round of the playoffs, but done. You know what I mean? I see Chicago doing the same thing. They'll get through Indiana, no problem. I'll be shocked if that goes any longer than 5 max. But in the second round, you really have to look at it. I think in the East it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, Chicago, Boston, Miami, Orlando.
Orlando's, I think, is going to be a sleeper. It's weird to say that they're a sleeper team, but
I think Orlando is going to be. Really good this year, and they're going to give some headaches. They're finally learning to start to play together. Jameer Nelson, when they're healthy, they're a really, really good squad. Then that leaves Boston and Miami. So I possibly see Orlando taking out Chicago, and this year so far, Celtics are 3 out of 3 against Miami.
yeah.
But that was before the trade. And the funny thing that nobody remembers is K-Park only played one of those 3 games
I remember that.
against Miami. You know why you remember Manoffs?
Because I'm awesome.
Because you are the man.
That is true.
This is very, very true.
My feeling with the Celtics, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No, please.
is that last year we kind of did the same thing. We kind of fucked up at the end of the season. Didn't really play our best basketball, basically after the All-Star break.
Every year.
And it happens every year. And we turn on the playoffs, and I have a good feeling that's what's going to happen this year as well, especially when Shaq finally does not die on the basketball
Well,
court.
he came back for 5 whole minutes and
Was it 5 minutes?
got 6 points and died again.
But I think we're going to be a tough team to beat.
I think we're going to be tough too. I think We have to keep the 2, though. We cannot slip down to 3, have to go on the road to Miami, and then possibly on the road to Chicago. That's going to be tough. That's going to be so tough. Can't do that. In the West, San Antonio's got the 1 locked up pretty much. They have 4 games left. They're 4.5 up on the Lakers. LA and Dallas. Oklahoma City's been playing really, really well. Last year they had the 8 seed. This year they're up to number 4. Might even jump Dallas for the 3 seed. Denver has been playing well ever since the Carmelo trade.
Thought, honestly?
Unbelievable. I commend, George Karl. Great job. He got another extension, which he absolutely deserves. That guy needs a ring.
I was just going to say, he's a very underrated coach.
That guy needs
definitely
a ring.
The best without a ring.
I feel like he would do wonders in, Miami.
Oh, my God. Dude.
Or Orlando, because I don't see Stan Van Gundy being a championship coach.
I hope not. I hate him so much.
His sound bites are priceless, though.
But I hate the way he talks. Why are you always out of breath, and why do you always sound like you have a sore throat?
Dude, he's a big man. He's a big man.
That is true. He looks nothing like his brother. It looks like he ate his brother.
Jeff Van Gundy is absolutely hilarious.
He is possibly the ugliest human being in basketball
history. Piss ugly. Our producer, poster of the show, Arya, wrote in on the wall and said the Celtics and Lakers are going to have a tough road if what's been happening lately continues, especially if the Lakers wind up facing the Spurs, Thunder, or he even mentioned Portland. Portland, since the trade deadline, they got Gerald Wallace from the Bobcats. First couple of games, he was really rough over there, but he's turned it on. Him and Aldridge, and then you got Andre Miller in the backcourt, Batum, Canby. They got a good little lineup going on. I feel like they're going to give some fits in the playoffs. I mean, I don't necessarily think that they're going to knock off in LA. Right now, they're the 7 seed. LA is the 2 seed. But I feel like, again, same thing with that I said about the Knicks and the Heat. Portland's going to make the Lakers run.
It could happen, but
it could happen last year. I remember. What was it? OKC.
Thunder pushed them pretty good.
Yeah, pushed them really well. Lakers were not awful, but not really a great road team in the playoffs last year. They lost 2 in Oklahoma City, 3 in Boston.
Yeah,
they lost all 3.
Pretty sure it was all 3 in Boston. I'm pretty sure we lost all 3 there, and they lost all 3 here.
Well, that's 6 playoffs. I was going to say.
Yeah, but before the awful game 7.
Yeah, so I mean that game 7 was terrible.
Let's not talk about it.
But
I think OKC is going to do pretty well in the playoffs this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Western Finals.
Really, yeah. OKC is probably going to look like they might, if they hold on to the 4 seed, they're probably going to get Denver. If they get the 3 seed, they're going to get New Orleans. They can beat both teams.
Oh,
I feel like they'd have a better shot against New Orleans only because Denver, you don't know what to expect now. You know what I mean? Nene's been playing better. J.R. Smith has been playing really well. Felton, when he's healthy, he's playing pretty good over there.
And I feel like last year, yes, they were a young team, but they lacked a very dominant center, and now they have that. Maybe not so much offensively, but definitely defensively.
Absolutely, Perk is a great pick and roll defender.
Exactly, he's good when he gets the little close layups and little hook shots and shit. But that helped that team out.
Absolutely. Let's see. Time to slap people.
I'm ready if you are.
You need to go first then.
This guy isn't really a celebrity. His name is. Have you watched Ultimate Fighter at all?
Yes.
Do you know who Keon is?
Yes.
The guy that left yesterday.
Yes. Voluntarily left.
He voluntarily left because he missed his daughter. Which may, okay, you miss your kid, that's fine. But you have the opportunity of a lifetime.
To better your kid's life.
To better your kid's life, to better your family's life, to better your life. And Dana White says this all the time. If you're not here to fight, then why the fuck are you here?
Taking a spot from somebody else.
Taking a spot from someone who actually wants to be there. People like that, he's literally never going to fight in the UFC. He could probably go 100-0 and never fight because they know he doesn't have the desire.
Yeah, probably not.
That's who I want to smack.
Yeah, sounds good. For me, it's I loved him at first, but I still love him. But he needs a slap just because I think it's good for his well-being. It might help him out.
Ready.
Charlie Sheen, he needs one, dude. I just want to wake him up a little bit. I heard his tour is very hit or miss.
That's what I've heard. I heard people left.
The first show he got booed out of the place in Chicago. Then he went to Detroit, and
he's not a stand-up comedian though, which is
I'm
not really sure which can go in these.
I really
see him crazy ranting.
At this point, I really feel like at first I really took him. He's out there. But now I feel like he's just trying to come up with things to keep himself
Oh
relevant.
yeah, absolutely.
And he's just like making shit up now. He was before too, but I genuinely think that he believed what he was saying out of his mind.
He's out of his mind. He needs some medication.
Big
Safe
time.
to say.
This was a great recording episode.
It was
Fantastic.
We didn't lose a step, dude.
Nope.
It's been a while.
Never
we didn't lose
ever.
a step.
This will be posted in time for the playoffs, and we'll be back at it again. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.